Greetings! Here is the next video, which follows on from the previous A2A Cessna video that I put up a month or two ago. This is CBB7 Tipella by ORBX. Nice little airfield, just on the edge of the Pacific Northwest terrain. It's a nice little water landing destination. We're parked here in the A2A Cessna. I thought I'd take the Cessna up here and do a quick video of me heading back. So we're heading back to Jefferson International. Basically, I'll just do a quick walk around. Not going to check the hangar because that's not realistic. There's no hangar services here, well, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Just going to do a quick check, walk around, and we'll get going shortly. So just bear with me. I'm going to quickly run through some procedures here. This was the second real flight, I guess, that I've made in the A2A Cessna. This follows on from the first video I did on the Cessna, so it'll be good to see just if anything's changed after that quite infamous aileron issue that I had last time. Just going to do some quick checks here around the plane. Not really going to explain what I'm doing because you can check out my first video for that. Just going to make sure that everything's fine. Now this plane has several thousand hours on it, but apart from the aileron issue I had earlier in my last video, I haven't really had many major issues since then, so just running through these checks I think is probably a good idea, just to make sure that I'm on top of anything that might be happening. The oil there looks getting a bit dark, and it's a little bit low, but probably be okay, so I'm going to run with that for now. Just make sure our fuel levels are all good. Check the right wing for the moisture as well. Tyres all good. Very important to do these checks because things can creep up on you like they did on me last time. Even though I was seemingly aware of the issue, I thought I'd give it a shot and see what happens. And I think we all pretty much know how that turned out, so it's very important to do these little checks. All good. Okay, so basically I'm going to be taking off shortly and heading back to Jefferson International. Just going to check outside temperature here. degrees. Alright, just going to prime the engine up shortly. Alright, just going to prime until we get some fuel flow, and then back to idle cutoff, fuel pump off, and going to crank it. Close the door and try her again. I'm not going to prime again. Door's closed. Oh, there we go. Mixture full rich as soon as it cranks over. And just lean it out a bit on the ground. Keep the RPMs under 1,000. Alternator on. Okay. Just jumping back here in the back seat to have a look around. I'll I'll jump back here again during the flight just to show you guys how it looks from the air. Just going to warm up a little bit and then we'll get moving. Just riching it up a little bit there. Got some pops from the engine. Okay. I've got some heat now in the engine. So I'm just going to release the parking brake and away we go. I'm not actually sure that this is the right place to park, but this is where I parked when I landed here. Get her going. Not a bad little airfield, this one. It's freeware as well from ORBX, which is handy, and I've quite enjoyed it. It's got the people flow feature as well, which means you'll see people walking around. There's someone walking their dog there. This is like the main strip of the town, I guess, the main street of the middle town area. People walking around. The terrain is quite rough, so just take it easy up here. It's going to get a bit bumpy here actually, I think. I don't have off-road tyres or all-terrain tyres on the Cessna, so I'm just trying to take it easy. Got a bit of a bridge coming up, I think. Give it a bit more power. This certainly gets the oil temps up anyway before you take off, so that's handy. Last thing I want to do is brake the propeller, so just trying to go as slow as possible. Just using the normal street tyres here. Here comes that little ramp over. Just going to try and take it easy for the bump. Last thing I want to do is strike that propeller. A little bit more power. There we go. Brakes, brakes. I did say it was bumpy. Weather today looks okay for a flight, so at least that's working in our favour. Once we get lined up on the soft field runway, we manage to take off, then we should be all good. Coming up here onto the runway. Get lined up. Do one last check of everything, do a quick mag check as well, so we're in full reach. Flaps 10 degrees. Alright, on the brakes hard, full reach, take it up to 1800 RPM. Just going to switch the mags over. Back to both. Okay, looking good. Just gonna lean it out a bit. Back to idle. Alright, away we go. 10 degrees flaps, as I mentioned before. The runway is quite rough, so I'm just going to try and take it easy again on this takeoff. really pounding those tires up into the air as soon as possible. Okay, just going to swing her around and head out. Okay, we've just done a 180-degree turn and we're flying back over the airfield. It's on our right here. That's pretty much where we started the video today, down there in that little township. Tipella, as I mentioned before, I think has some water runways and water landing facilities, and you can see these here as well. Got some pens there on the ground, and there's also a water hangar, and I believe you can actually taxi up that hangar as well, and there are hangar facilities in there, so that's quite interesting. Obviously not much use to us here in the A2A Cessna. So I'm just going to retract these flaps and we'll climb up out of here and back towards Jefferson. Four cylinders of Fury, 360 cubic inches, let's go. Okay, we've got some more altitude now. Doing a fairly fast climb, around 2,000 feet so far. I'm just going to show you how I do my leaning procedure during the climb. So I'm just going to speed the video up shortly. What we're focusing on here is the EGT gauge, or the exhaust gas temperature. So I'm just going to speed the video up. We're aiming for peak temperatures, so I'm just going to keep leaning until that needle gets to its peak zone. So I'm just going to see that rising. Now I'm going to bring up the reference indicator to show what the peak is. Okay, let's make sure we're still flying. Okay, so now I've got the reference needle pegged at the peak EGT. That's pretty much it there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reach in by one or two indicated marks, one or two graduations, I guess. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm gradually reaching out, and you'll see that the needle is coming back down. So I'm normally reaching out 2 marks peak of peak EGT. There's no hard and fast rule, but the richer your mixture is, the more cooling your engine gets as well. So that's basically it. As I climb, I'll just keep an eye on those EGTs. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the autopilot. I'm not going to run through the autopilot in this video because I haven't fully mastered it yet. We're still doing our climb when I'm just turning towards Jefferson now. I'm just setting the heading bug, and our autopilot's already engaged. Still climbing. You can see we're about 2 marks rich of peak. Got the throttle on full. I've set the autopilot to climb us at 400 feet per minute, so you'll see now it's coming down, and it should hopefully leave us around 400 feet per minute. The autopilot's doing this all by itself at the moment. It's not a bad little gadget, but as I said, I won't go into it in detail in this video just yet. Okay, we're up now around 9,000 feet. We're certainly getting up there, as you can see. So adjust that heat. We've got a little bit too much heat coming into the cabin. Heater works quite well. I'm going to level off soon and just enjoy the rest of the trip back to Jefferson. So we're at around 11,000 feet now. I'm trying to level us off. Some nice views from up here. Okay, we're level at 11,000 feet now. I'm just going to jump into the back seat shortly and take in the view from there as well. As you can see, our GPS is programmed to Jefferson International 0S9. We're going to start descending soon, because that airport will come up quite soon. So I'm just going to dial in a bit of a drop on the autopilot. Not too fast, about 400 feet. And you'll see that the climb indicator is now showing about 400 feet, 300 to 400 feet drop. So that's now getting dialed in. Alright, here we are in the back seat. The view from back here is quite good. I haven't installed those flap seam covers, as you would have seen there under the wing. It's a stock plane for the most part. Not a bad view. The clouds really give you a sense of how fast you're travelling as they go speeding past you like this. A wonderful interior that A2A Simulations has modelled in the Cessna 172R. Okay, here we are. We're descending through to Jefferson International. Okay, here we are on final approach now to Jefferson International, descending through 600 feet. Just got permission from the tower that all is well to land. So what I like to do on the approach, obviously throttle back, but also lean out at the same time. I find that at the low engine speeds, it's quite easy to fail the spark plugs. A2A released a update for the Cessna 172 recently, well, several weeks ago now anyway, that reduced the incidence of fouling in the simulation, so you won't find that the spark plugs fail as easily anymore, which is good. Probably more realistic, I guess. Can't really say for sure, but then I've just richened it out back to full rich now, which I like to do just before I touch down in case I need to go around. That's one less thing to think about. We're just coming in now for our final approach. Whoops. My apologies. Sure we can do it better than that. Full reach. Just gonna flare a bit. 40 knots. Got 10 degrees of flaps on. And she handles quite well with the flaps down. Just keeping that nose wheel in the air at the moment. Try and reduce the wear and tear on the plane. Nice long runway, easy on the brakes. Okay, let's take our headphones off. So that's basically it for our flight. Taxi back to our parking area. Still got over half a tank of fuel in our tanks, over 50%. Just gonna taxi back now Again, a wonderful plane by A2A Simulations. Oh, that's interesting. And we've got some blue smoke coming out of the engine there. It is a used plane, so there's several thousand hours on it. Now blue smoke, I guess, would mean that there's oil that's burning in the engine. So perhaps our valves or our piston rings are warm. Not too sure, but we can probably check it out when we land. Once we've taxied back. We're almost there now. I'm just going to hook around, then push back to our parking area. Just bear with me a moment. And I'll make sure that I check the hangar this time as well, just to see what damage is. Gonna put on a bit of power. Alright, looks okay. Before I shut down, I'm just going to run it up a little bit just to clear out the engine. Lean out a little bit as well, get some heat going in there. Clear out the spark plugs a bit. Lean, lean. That blue smoke is really intriguing. Alright. Full lean, idle cutoff. Lights off, avionics, magnetos, electrics, battery. I'm gonna open the door up here, push back, and we'll check out the hangar. Be interesting to see what's reported. Never actually had that issue before with this plane. I haven't actually flown it that much yet. Be interesting to see what the mechanic has to say. Check the oil first. I just want to see what we've got. It's a bit low, but could probably use a change, perhaps. It's not that bad, to be honest. Maybe just a top up. Let's open the hangar up. Okay, we've got some tyre wear, which is expected. We've got some spark plug fouling. Now, I haven't applied the update yet from A2A, but there doesn't appear to be any issues with the engine. Compression test seems to be okay. We can actually change the oil here, and we can run an additive as well, which I might have shown you guys in the previous video already. Which I'm not running at the moment. It's just a bit of information on the oil grades as well. That fuel injection issue I should really fix up as well, but you can see that both tyres are worn. All that off-roading that we did just before as well at the start of the video probably didn't help us. These are the different types of tyres that you can put on. Actually the first two, sorry, are the types that you can select in the simulation at the moment, at least. Could probably run these tyres for a little bit longer. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching again. Hopefully we'll go for another fly soon, and hopefully there'll be less blue smoke this time. Thanks for watching.